This is the KUAM Podcast Network's Off the Record, where nothing is. In this episode, we sit down with former KUAM reporter and anchor Krystal Paco-San Agustin, who shares how she made the leap from the newsroom to serving as the governor of Guam's Director of Communications. Krystal opens up about it all.
Hafa day, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Record. We are joined by a dynamic woman, and she is no stranger to our KUAM airwaves. I know you guys already know her already. She is a former news reporter, former anchor, news on-air personality, and now she is the Director of Communications at the Office of our Governor of Guam. Everybody, give it up for the one and only Krystal Paco-San Agustin. Woo! And we have a crowd in here today, too. All ladies, I just have to add. So Krystal, thank you so much for taking the time. We know you are busy. We get emails from you every single day. We're blowing up your phone every day. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak with us. We really appreciate it.
Hafa day, Destiny, and it's great to be back. In fact, I was overwhelmed by nostalgia driving here because for all my formative years, all of my 20s, I worked here at KUAM. Yep. And like you said, I had a very, very successful career here. In fact, it was my launch point for where I'm at today as first off, the press secretary for the Leon Guerrero Tenor administration, then ultimately where I am today is the Director of Communications. And now we're going on year 7 with Governor Lou Leon Guerrero, our first female governor, and Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenor, our first openly gay lieutenant governor in the nation. So it has been a historic, administration, a lot of firsts. And when Lou and Josh called me, I couldn't say no. I mean, I loved my work here. Absolutely. I loved my work here at KUAM. It was so hard to leave. I cried on my last day because I couldn't imagine leaving here and the family that I built here, and also the people at home where I felt like I'd become a part of their family. I think TV was still very dominant in the years I was here from 2011 to 2019. TV was the dominant way people got their news, got their information, or they waited until next day's newspaper. And so, especially at 6 p.m., think about what you're doing at 6 p.m. at night.
Eating.
You're at home, you're cooking dinner,
family.
You're with your family, maybe the kids are starting on their homework. And so you're with these families, the people of Guam, at these really intimate moments, and you become part of their families. Mm-hmm. And I know you know this, Destiny, from your own experience, is that you become an influencer, you become part of their family because they know you from TV. I mean, I go everywhere still to this day and people recognize me from my time on TV.
They're
even
like,
though you're the girl from KUAM. Like, I haven't worked there in almost 7 years. How old are you? But yes, KUAM was so important to my formative years and was the launch pad to where I am today. So grateful, so much love. I still look back here with so many fond memories.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see how KUAM is evolving because I'm having to evolve too as the main messenger for the government, but seeing how the news outlets here on Guam are also evolving. Like, you're straying farther away from the TV product, but more on the digital product, digital media. Where do people get their news? Where do people get their information? That's the same thing with me as the Director of Communications and trying to figure out where are people getting their news. Okay, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on the websites. Gone are the days of the press release. I still do them, but now it's visually heavy, and that's why my team is stacked the way they are. I have a Deputy Comms Director, Dalen Pelletier, helps with all my social media. He doubles as a graphic videographer and a photographer as well. Excellent. And then I also have 2 videographers, Jose Castro and Anton Nata, and they help me produce these beautiful videos that you're seeing on Instagram, these reels that you're seeing. I also have a phenomenal graphic designer, Andrea Muro, who helps me push out that messaging and who helps me adapt the regular press release into something more bite-sized, tangible for the average person who's scrolling, who probably only has 4 seconds of attention span. And I think you and I have the same challenges, just different capacities. I'm just on the other side of the microphone this time.
Cutting through that noise, and how do we make sure that the people of Guam are getting their news from a credible source, because there is so much, especially in this digital space. Before we really dive into that, I really wanted to backtrack a little bit. You spoke a lot about your team currently, and I think that, you've definitely left an indelible mark on the community, and I think that has a lot to do with the teamwork here, the foundation that was created at KUAM. So can you tell us, maybe for those out there who are curious, what did you learn here at KUAM that helped you with your job today?
Everything.
Period.
Absolutely. Period. Come apply here at KUAM if you're a graduating senior or you're a aspiring comms major at the University of Guam. I would absolutely recommend an internship. Get your hands, just get into the programs, get out there and on the job experience. I highly recommend internships, and anytime you can get an opportunity to work with the professionals in the field, do it. But reflecting on my time here at KUAM, oh my gosh. Networking, number one, especially here on Guam. Your network is your net worth. You know, especially on small island, it's who you know, how you get things done, you know, moving fast. And for me, as the director of communications, my job is not to know everything, but it's to know the people who know the answers, know the people that provide this service. And so a lot of the times my job is just connecting people. And that's my favorite part of my job. But back to what I learned at KUAM, it's networking, being able to interview strangers, being able to interview celebrities, being able to interview government officials, especially in crisis situations, going to the scene of the crime and trying to interview somebody who's just been impacted. You know, their lives have been changed in those few seconds that preceded your meeting with them. And so to be able to do that, that is so powerful. Being able to talk to strangers and to do interviews, ask questions, and write the meaningful stories. Because I think as a news reporter, we also have to talk about, you know, we have only like 30 seconds, 2 minutes to tell a story. What matters most? And don't hide your lead. Put the most important stuff right at the top. And I think that's something I learned too. I became a really, really good writer because of my time at KUAM. Really good copywriter, on-the-spot writer. It helped me to learn how to synthesize things very quickly. To sit through a court hearing that was an hour long, but be able to walk out right after and to do an on-camera interview or an on-camera stand-up, as we call it in the news, and to dissect, okay, so-and-so was just arrested. He appeared for this. This is the main story points. For more, log on to KUAM.com.
Right.
And that's like embedded in me, like accuracy, brevity, clarity. And this ABCs guides my life. ABC, as simple as accuracy, brevity, and clarity. And that's something that stuck with me today. So networking, the ability to synthesize and to write. And this was prior to AI and ChatGPT. And I think that's really going to change too, how the world absorbs information, because now we don't have to read everything. You can, you know, pop it onto ChatGPT or whatever AI device you're using, and it can synthesize for you. Gone are the days of note-taking. I love note-taking.
We love note-taking here.
I love note-taking, and it would be the scribbles in my notebook or on my cell phone. I'm an excellent note-taker, and because of that, I'm a great synthesizer, but, you know, gone are those days. And so we're going to see some changes in the next few years as more people become dependent on AI and AI to take our notes for us. You know, I was also a teacher at the University of Guam teaching communications, and kids don't take notes. You know what they do? They pull their cell phone and they take a picture. So life is going to be changed. We're going to see those changes. People evolve about how they take in information. I learned how to, most importantly, multitask. I mean, Destiny, you know this from personal experience. On Fridays here at KUAM, most people don't know how many outfit changes.
So Monday on Friday.
Monday is your Friday. So for me, you know, we pre-record a lot of stuff here at KUAM. And that's because we need content throughout the weekend. And so you're trying to think about, okay, I'm wearing this outfit for this show. I'm wearing this outfit for Saturday, for Sunday, for Monday, etc. On top of doing the phone calls, doing the interviews, gathering the information. Do I need court documents? Do I need to check my emails? I still need to write my story. And then I still have to work with my photographer, my video editor to tell the story. Oh, and then I got to voice the story. And there's being able to juggle all of that. And my time at KUAM, I spent so much time. I think 80% of my time was spent on the field, you know, going out, driving, getting the story right in your face. And I think COVID changed how news reporters actually attain their information, right? You guys don't have to show up anymore. We bring the story to you. But how you get information, I spend like 80% of my time as a KUAM news reporter on the field, and maybe the remaining time just on the desk. And we went through so many evolutions of the news desk too here at KUAM. The standing desk. The standing desk when they got rid of the news desk. That was a different thing.
You have to put on actual shoes.
I have to put on real shoes. I'm not wearing slippers anymore, but I learned so much, and I look back at my time at KUAM with so much fondness, great memories. And thanks for Facebook and Facebook memories. I'm always reminded what those key stories were for me. And looking back, I'm like, wow, I did that. But the ability again to network, to talk to strangers, to build who you know and the people you surround yourself with, the ability to synthesize, and then of course the ability to multitask. Those things are they're so impactful to the work I do today. but also being a performer. And Destiny, you two have the same thing with me, is a common thread for us, is we're performers, we're singers, we're musicians. I'm used to performing, but performing for a TV camera is very different from a live audience. Yeah. With the live audience, I can get direct feedback. Am I doing well? Am I doing not well? You get applause. That's the validation you need. Talking to a camera at end, a nauseating end without any feedback, that's so different.
Yeah.
And trying to make people feel like, they can trust you, talking to them and showing them that you care and building that empathy. And Destiny, you and I were talking a little bit before we started. How do we cut through the noise?
That part. How do we cut through the noise? Mm-hmm. That's like my question for you too. How has your experience here changed the way or impacted the way that you work with the media? Because both sides, you understand where we're coming from as media, asking you as in that position.
My background as a news reporter has made me very successful as a news director and as a government messenger. And it's because I relate. And that's exactly what you were alluding to. I relate because I know at the end of the day, Destiny Cruz also has a job to do. Mm-hmm. She has a 6 p.m. newscast to host. And I'm like, okay, guys, if we don't have any information, tell them what we know, or help them manage their expectations. Because Destiny needs to know what her top story is going to be this evening. Or should she lead with another story? Should she go chase another story? It also helps when we manage expectations when the directors, I'd always advise our directors, respond. Acknowledge that you've received the reporter's question. Don't leave them on read. Don't leave them hanging on to you're waiting for your call back. Be like, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. Can I call you back after? And give them a time frame in 1 hour, in 2 hours. Or if you text me your questions, I can work on this during the lunch break and I can have this for you by this time. Or hey, Destiny, what's your deadline? Because knowing that you have a deadline to meet also gives me a chance to, hey, maybe I just give you a holding statement. But hey, Destiny, how about we compromise that tomorrow I'll give you an on-camera interview. And I think that's really helped me build greater rapport. And of course, you guys were my former colleagues working here at KUAM, and so many familiar faces that I have to now do interviews with or answer to. But building that rapport, and that's something I also teach my government public information officers. Build rapport with reporters because it's going to go a long way with the coverage. Help them help you. Because again, like at the end of the day, Destiny and KUAM still have to go live at 6 p.m. And now you have more demands with all your digital products. Yes. Now people don't wait for 6 p.m. If I want news, I want it now. And you, I know, also have that pressure to deliver it right now. Is there a car crash here? Is there something happening here? Is there a fire here? And so also teaching my government PIOs, my public affairs officers and PIOs, public information officers to, hey, you got a picture? Give it to them. Give it to them. Give them the press release as soon as you can, or at least the basic talking points. Caption things when you can. If we help you do your jobs, you can do your job better. And then, of course, building that rapport. And obviously the best, helping us put our best face forward in everything that we do.
Definitely. I also wanted to talk a lot about empathy because, when you were just talking about earlier, building that connection with sometimes people that we've never met. A lot of the time, actually, people that we've never met, but they have such a strong, connection with you. What was, I guess, an experience that you had during your time at KUAM that really impacted you? Maybe someone shared that you brightened their day or you really left a mark on them. Maybe something you can recall that really stood out to you.
I had so many stories that impacted my life. But I think one thing that really stands out, because I was literally ushering in social media for KUAM with Facebook Live. And I remember that year because it was the first case of clergy sex abuse. And the first victim on the steps of the Ganya Cathedral crying. 40-plus-year-old man, Mr. Roy Quintanilla, he came forward and he was basically saying that he had been a victim of clergy sex abuse. And groundbreaking, your jaw's dropping, like, is this really happening? But to also be the person, like, with Facebook Live, now there's no editing. Everything, this is reality TV, be part of that. And then from number one to the hundreds of cases that would happen after. Guam is predominantly Catholic. We were all impacted by this, by the clergy sex abuse cases. And of course, it changed leadership. We had Archbishop Michael Burns, rest in peace. I was very close to him because of his time coming into Guam and trying to fix a broken church and reunite it and reunify it. And I really, really enjoyed my time covering that. As tragic and as traumatic as those stories were, I think I connected to people the most because this was just like, wow, a wow moment. And actually, I was one of the people that I just used the phone book, the Google phone book, and I looked up Father Louis Brulliard. And that name might trigger some really bad memories from people. But I called him up, and he answered his phone and basically admitted that he, inappropriately touched young boys back in the day. He admitted it to me. And I remember walking out of the voiceover room after that interview, which I had recorded. And I remember feeling like I was going to cry because I couldn't believe my ears. And so my time here at KUAM, so many meaningful, powerful stories. Another one that I was really famous for, I was at the scene of an active shooter at the Hagåtña precinct. I think that was a lot.
I was just told this story.
I was at the scene when the suspect was arrested for allegedly murdering his wife, shooting her. And I was there, and I'd stayed back a little bit after in my car, and I was sitting there on my phone, and I heard the bam. And my instinct was to pull out my cell phone and run towards the sounds. And,
as a true reporter.
As a true reporter would, follow the action. And I remember running right alongside police officers right from my car parking lot into the Hagåtña precinct. And it's not the Hagåtña precinct anymore, it's moved to Sinhanya, but it's in Hagåtña, and running in and capturing those moments, those first moments where the police officer said he shot himself. And I was just so shocked. And my photographer at the time, Joseph Termulo, he had already left the scene. So it's me, and I was texting my news director at the time, the now Senator Sabrina Salas-Matanani. I was like, Sabrina, Bree, the suspect just shot himself. And so through WhatsApp, I was able to send in the video that I just recorded on my phone. Joseph Termulo, my cameraman, came back, and I remember him having to console me for a second. Like, Chris, you got to go on live. You're going on live right now. And he was holding my shoulders, and he was trying to fix my face, trying to fix my near tears from coming out, trying to fix just gather yourself, you got this. And me making that live report, those are some of the memories that will never leave me. And then, of course, there were some amazing, fun memories too here at KUAM. I was predominantly a crime reporter, so most people will remember me from reporting to the scene of the crime, to the suspects first, their magistrate hearing, their arraignment, the trial, sentencing, following those stories from start to finish. Wow, that was very empowering, but also the fun stuff. KUAM did, send me to Australia at the time. United Airlines had the direct flight to Cairns. Got to do some really cool stuff.
Yes.
Dive the Great Barrier Reef, whitewater rafting, do some really cool things to help promote, these connections. Again, building connections.
Yeah.
And I think the people of Guam want to know my favorite thing in the whole world to do is building connections. And it's either through the storytelling and the work I do at the Office of the Governor or through my music. Yeah. And Dustin, you can probably relate because, oh my goodness, nothing brings me more joy in life than connecting to people through music when you can bring strangers who don't speak the same language onto a dance floor because they just enjoy the music so much.
It's storytelling. I think that's such a beautiful thing, that storytelling is such a common thread woven throughout your life, is that you tell stories, whether it be through your role here at KUAM, now your role at the governor's office, and now your role also in the community. We also know that you are really engaged in community events.
Absolutely.
And I do see that connection. I also wanted to ask you a little bit more about, just to backtrack, you were talking about some really traumatizing things. And of course, as reporters, we are not the story, especially in those instances where you are taken aback by traumatic events like that. You have to wipe your tears and put that aside to tell the story. Especially as women, we feel very passionate about things. So to put those things to the side and do our job, it's truly amazing that we can do this. But just to hone in on that, how did you cope with those kinds of things? And what advice would you give to us as people who are now in your shoes?
Smiling dogs.
We love puppies.
There's a few, I literally was Smiling Dogs, and Joan, your now news director, can tell you that my wallpaper on my desk here at KUAM was like a smiling pug. So, you got it when I would feel really down because of the work we were doing and then the exposure we had, the repeated exposure. Reading court documents is no easy task.
Nope.
They're so descriptive, they leave nothing to the imagination, and you're thinking about the victims. And of course, we show so much empathy as women, especially. So Smiling Dogs was one of my coping mechanisms. Google searching Smiling Dogs, it was my wallpaper. Another thing, Joseph Termulo, he would take me to the pet shop. Even Jacob, one of the photographers, they would take me to, on the way back to the station if I was really, really down in the dumps and affected by a story. Take me to the pet shop so I could see the dogs.
I need the puppy therapy.
Perhaps, putting in a plug for a what is it, Comfort Dog here?
Comfort Dog. We would love a
Comfort Dog here at KUAM, and maybe at the Office of the Governor as well.
Yes.
But that was some of my coping mechanisms. But also, this is another coping mechanism I have today is music. Yeah. It's my outlet. It's how I don't go crazy because of the work and the excruciating stress that I'm through. Is that 3 times a week I'm still a performer. Yeah. I'm still making music. I'm making music and sharing my music with people I love and strangers. Because people I love, being like Patrick Palomo, an extraordinary piano player here on Guam. I get to play with him twice a week.
That's beautiful.
And then my husband also is in my band on Saturday nights. And so getting to make music and connect with people through music, that's one way I cope. But first my answer, of course, was Smiling Dogs.
That's the secret, guys. Smiling Dogs. And Krys, like you really are, like I said in the intro, you really are a dynamic woman. We can see that just today, like how we're talking about the fact that you are a musician, a storyteller outside of your 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And we know 9 to 5.
It's not 9 to 5.
Every hour, every second of the day, right? But why is it so important for you to, or actually, let me shift my question. How do you balance that? And why is it important to maintain your interests amidst all of this craziness? How do you do that, and why is that important to you?
I was just thinking about this today because I have a hard time setting boundaries. And I think that's what maybe Gen Z and younger generations kind of are better about. They have more defined work-life balance. And I'm kind of in the middle, right? I'm a millennial. And I don't really have an understanding of work-life balance. I will bring work into my my home. I don't turn off the computer at 5 on the dot. I leave when the work is done, or I bring it home with me, and then I finish there, or I wake up to it. And so I don't have the answer to that. I think that's something I'm still coping with and trying to struggle to balance. Like I said, I lean a lot on my music, and then my family and my husband, and then my friends. Especially as we get older, Destiny, it's going to be harder for us to keep friends because our lives, the people you hung out with high school will have less in common with you today. And now I'm in my 30s, 35. I don't have children yet. That's another thing that's also helped me in my career, stay focused on my career. Although, babies is something in the near future, hopefully. But I struggle immensely with the work-life balance. I'm very blessed again to be, married and without kids and to be healthy. Yes. That's another thing, to be healthy, to be able to do my job. And so speaking of health, that's probably where I also find reprieve is health. 2 years ago, I did a bodybuilding competition because, why not?
Yes,
we're one of those people.
We were like, let's just try it.
We're chronic goal setters.
Yep.
And so 2 years ago, and it happened to align with the same year as Typhoon Mawar, I decided to go on a weight loss journey because I did not like what I felt like. I did not like what I was seeing in the mirror. So I did the Dr. D keto program, the Health Bistro program, and I was wildly successful. And then as I was losing weight, I was reminded, wait a minute, Krystal, after the beauty pageants, you watched your first bodybuilding show and you loved it. I loved it. I loved seeing these powerful, strong women who looked more like me. And because beauty pageants have a lot to do with your height, and I'm only, a little over 5 feet, but bodybuilding competitions, you're scored in your height class. I'm going to compete with people who are the same size as me, and so after that, I did a bodybuilding competition, placed second in my bikini fitness, my class. Yes. Not bad for my first timer making my debut, and I'll definitely do it in a heartbeat again. It helped me realize that. My health, taking care of myself, because if you don't take care of yourself first, then you can't take care of others. You can't do your job.
Yeah.
I'm so, again, glad that I'm surrounding myself with people who are competent and capable. Like my team at the Office of the Governor, phenomenal. You know, everyone knows their roles. I can set an assignment, I can give a deadline, and I can have the deliverable in my hand by that deadline. And so, you know, an exceptional team by my side, again, great family, and I have my health, and I care for it. I love spinning. I work out at Rocket Ride, plugging all the places I go to.
She said you guys are going to be healthy.
Healthy, because there's nothing crazier than dancing on a bike that doesn't go anywhere for 45 minutes. But that's, you know, I love it. I love it. The excitement, the adrenaline, because bodybuilding left me so lonely. It was such a lonely experience because now you're not eating with your friends. Now you're not hanging out with your friends. So much of your hangouts and the events here on Guam revolve around food, so you're not doing that. And so I'm on the Stairmaster for 1 hour in the morning and then 1 hour in the evening, and I'm bored out of my mind, but I have to do it because I need to drop more weight for the show. And then afterwards, it was really what helped me discover I love group fitness because of the camaraderie and the support you get, because energy creates energy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's 5 a.m. and I'm on my spin bike, but the girl next to me and the girl to my left and my right, we're all bringing it because we know that together we're going to finish this class.
Yeah.
So health is wealth, but also it helps a lot when you have partners and people to hold you accountable. Yeah. So bodybuilding competition, I had my team at Dr. D's clinic to help me out with that training and all the eating. They prepped the meals. All I had to do was eat and train. I also had my brother as my support. He was also a bodybuilding competitor in the past, and so he supported me. My husband, who was down to not eat with me or watch me suffer and go through all the mood swings. And then my team at the office, all of them bringing their best talents, their A game 24/7. So I have so many wonderful people I can lean on, and that's how I'm able to cope with not having this work-life balance, is because I surround myself with people who are going to help uplift me the same way I uplift them.
Team. I think that's the word
theme,
for today.
Okay,
team. And I just want to say, I know we're running out of time, but I just really want to make sure that we talk about this because it even makes me emotional to think about it. I think it was like maybe 7 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm bad at math. It's almost 10 years.
Girl math.
I'm a words person, everybody. Not so great at math. But anyways, it's so full circle to be here interviewing you today. And I thought a lot about what I was going to ask you because, again, a couple years ago, Krystal was the first person to interview me after Miss World. And she was doing a segment called Cruising with KUAM. And number one, I was starstruck because I grew up watching you. Mm-hmm. And she also came to talk to us during the pageant about, you know, how to conduct ourselves during this journey, how to be professional.
Public speaking.
Exactly. And who knew that all those years ago, I was literally like learning from you. Mm-hmm. And I never in a million years thought that I would be on the other end asking you questions. So I just have to really make that note that this is like so full circle for me. And it's like, it's such an honor to talk to you and to learn from you, most especially because I need to give you your flowers too, girl. Like you really did, whether you knew it or not, you were opening doors for women like me, for women like Mitsuki, Nevaeh, who are here now, following in all of these amazing women who have come through KUAM and really set a standard for us to follow. So yeah, I just wanted to give you your flowers. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask you, what's one piece of advice that you can give for us and for future women walking through these doors here at KUAM?
Wow, I'm like speechless. Yeah. I never really thought about being a girl. It never affected how I approached the project. Being a girl didn't matter. Yeah. You know, I could compete. I can do just as hard work, all the hard work that the boys could do. I could work the hours, I could execute, I could have just as good ideas. So I never let my gender dictate my ability to execute the work. And so that's my advice to women, any woman I have my intern here with me, and she's also a girl. I have all female interns this summer, and it's just do the work and show your worth and take the space. And that's also what I'm learning in my 30s. I'm 35 years old, taking the space because I belong here. I think a lot of women go through imposter syndrome.
Oh, 100%.
And I felt that for the greater part of the first part of my career at KUM and then here at the Leon Guerrero Administration. Is like, how am I here? Do I belong here? Are they delusional? I don't belong here. I don't have the credibility to be here. But yes, you belong here. Make the space. Do the work. Don't ever let your gender dictate your ability to execute the work and perform. I love that. I never thought about that question, but wow, I'm starstruck. I am also starstruck by you, Destiny, and how far you and the ladies have come. I'm always excited to see how media evolves because, again, how we process information as a public, it's changing. Definitely. And so we've got our work cut out for us, both of us, on either side of the microphone. But thank you for this opportunity. And again, if you're a girl, if you're not a girl, don't let that ever affect your ability to power through and do the work.
There we go.
Take the space.
Take up space. We're taking up space and defying gravity. Right? We're defying gravity, guys.
She would.
But thank you again, everybody, the one and only Krystal Paco-San Agustin. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's give a round of applause, ladies. Woo!
Thank you for having me. It's great to be back here at my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Off the Record is part of the KUAM Podcast Network. Watch more episodes on the KUAM News YouTube channel and listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.